David A. Pakman doesn't know how to pronounce AIPAC in a hilarious attempt to feign ignorance. Yeah, I saw that. That's like kind of a, that's an insane thing that he did there. I'm gonna be honest. I do feel like a lot of the content creators like who I am very cordial with, who you know I have obvious disagreements with, but I'm like otherwise very cordial with regardless, have behaved in a way that I am kind of disappointed by. Not that it matters. I don't think these guys like me that much anyway, but you know, his brother worked for the ADL. No, I know he did, which is why it's like when I saw that, like when I saw that video where he like talks about AIPAC or IPAC, however you say it, I was like, come on, man, like what are you doing? Because it's a real like damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation for David Pakman, because it's like you act like you don't know what AIPAC is. Okay, like you act like you don't know what AIPAC is, then like either you're one, you know exactly what it is, but you're just like lying about not knowing what it is, or, which is again disingenuous, or two, you're a political commentator since like 2005 or something, and you don't know a very important lobbying group. Like, come on. Like either way, it's just like a horrible, it just doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good at all. Like, that's crazy. You've been doing this for 20 years, man. What do you mean you don't know how to say AIPAC? Yes, I know. Ryan Ruth wants to do trial by combat. My goat. Is crazy, weird way to play it from him. I know. I don't know why he's just like
some creators.
Like the thing is, for a lot of these guys, like here's one thing I will say. Okay, I have personal opinions, and I openly state what my personal opinions are, and yet there are so many instances where a lot of people either fucking punish me for openly stating my personal opinions and yelling at me over it, while simultaneously assuming that like I'm actually cynically advocating for the things that I'm advocating for, and I'm not being 100% transparent or honest. If that was the case, I would never talk about NATO, for example. Or if that was the case, I wouldn't be consistently duking it out with like my left flank when it comes to certain issues. I have red lines that I don't cross. Okay? The reason why I do this is because I think it's the most appropriate way to go about it. You have your opinions, you share them, you have your biases, you openly reveal those biases. And at the end of the day, if people appreciate your commentary, if people know where you're coming from and they agree with your statements, then that's great. Okay? If they don't, then they don't. It is what it is. You can't win it all. This kind of this kind of attitude, I think, kind of like this kind of attitude almost shelters the public from your perspective in a way that doesn't make any sense because you're a political commentator. Okay, it's just like it doesn't make any sense. Like why just, you know what AIPAC is, man? That's crazy.
In the first 48 hours, took the Wired story and expanded it with even more outrageous claims, suggesting that it's AIPAC or IPAC. I don't even know how it's pronounced. AIPAC.
Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. You know how to pronounce it, man. Come on. I guess like people also were yelling, I'll defend David on the Chorus Wired article, but pretending to not know AIPAC is a bad look. Like, does he think we're dumb enough to not know he knows what AIPAC, to not know that he knows what AIPAC is? It is one of the most well-known, powerful lobbying groups in the US and has been talked about plenty in the last decade. To pretend that he doesn't know what AIPAC, pretending it could be pronounced IPAC, is just insulting to anyone who follows this channel. All these years we defend this dude against AIPAC affiliation accusations, and he insults us by pretending not know how to pronounce it. Like, I don't think David Pakman is like funded by AIPAC, for the record. I've never stated that. I don't think that that is the case. But obviously, like, this is an area where he is heavily biased, right? Israel is an area where he is heavily biased. That bias both stems from his own personal opinions about the state of Israel, but it also stems from his personal opinions when it comes to American foreign policy. Like David, regardless of his socially progressive attitude, for years and years has had a lot of differences of opinion from someone like myself when it comes to American foreign policy. And he lands on the side that almost always is on the side of the United States, that rehashes and repeats whatever the State Department line is on a particular matter. Okay, so there's multiple reasons. He responds and says, guys, give me a break. I'm not pretending to not know what AIPAC is. I'm just unsure on the pronunciation. It's the same as how I get mixed up with the first O in sorrow is pronounced, or how the first A in Lara is pronounced. I mean, I don't know about all that. I think it just like, it feels as though he was just saying that to be like, I don't know, what is this AIPAC thing? And of course, there are a fuck ton of videos where he's saying AIPAC correctly. Like, I mean, that's...
Things. Number one, AIPAC is a more right-wing group, and Jews in the U.S. are very, very liberal. So yeah, there are Jews who support AIPAC, who vote in the United States. But look at evangelical Christian support of AIPAC and of Israel. That doesn't even seem to be mentioned here. It's an important fact.
Like, he is a lot more knowledgeable on this issue than he lets on, is what I mean. Of course he is. He's been doing this for 20 plus years, man. Like, he is a very knowledgeable guy. And the Christian Zionist pro-Israel, the Christian Zionist pro-Israel contingency is a very real one. It's one that I talk about quite a bit. It's one that I talk about quite frequently. Like, he is a very smart guy. Like, he's a very smart guy. He's the notion that he's like oblivious to how AIPAC is stated is a way to just like make it seem as though he's like, he has this like dedicated blind side to this issue, where I don't think that's the case. I think he just doesn't want to say what his opinions are on this.
Factor. But then we get to the bigger picture. You can recognize that this is playing on longtime anti-Semitic tropes and still support boycotting Israel, for example. And the reflexive reaction I saw from many on the left to say this can't be anti-Semitic because they felt as though it would in some way invalidate their support of boycotting Israel or their opposition to Benjamin Netanyahu. Separate the two things. You can be an opponent of Benjamin Netanyahu and believe that Ilhan Omar here is knowingly or unknowingly playing up anti-Semitic tropes. You can be for...
I'm so glad that I fucking stood in opposition to this kind of stuff when Ilhan Omar was on the right side of history and was absolutely correct and was getting blasted by both the Democrats and the Republicans. This is when... Remember that Donald Trump clip that I play all the time? May Allah awaken the people to the evil doings of Israel and the United States of America. That's Donald Trump quoting Ilhan Omar. That's when people were basically like ripping into Ilhan Omar for saying that way long time ago. Okay? That is Donald Trump doing, because there's a point in time when like Donald Trump would go up on rallies and put Ilhan Omar's face on the TV in all of these fucking stadiums, in all these arenas where they were actively trying to get her assassinated. Okay? Wait, that clip is not AI? No, that clip is real. You guys are so funny. You didn't know that? The May Allah awaken, here, send it to me. Send me that clip. The May Allah awaken the people to the evil doings of Israel and the United States of America. That clip right there is a real clip.
Congresswoman Omar
here
is an America-hating socialist.
Look.
Yeah, this Congresswoman Omar is an America-hating socialist. She minimized the September 11th attack on our homeland.
Yeah, it's a clip chimp. For those of you who don't know, like he talks about like all of these like idiotic, which by the way, you might have noticed a very interesting line of attack here. Whenever someone is a Muslim, okay, and they're like anti-American imperialism, it doesn't take much for people to immediately go, you love 9/11, you minimized it, you actually want more 9/11 to take place. Yeah, I mean, here's my video on this from 6 years ago. Pathetic Democrats won't defend Ilhan Omar again. What the fuck? I'm just like driving around. I was a car guy. It's a car ramp, boys. But yeah.
Where far more than 3,000 people died, saying Some people did something. Big deal. Some people did. She pleaded for compassion for ISIS recruits right here in Minnesota.
It's also bullshit. Like all of this stuff is like classic bullshit. You're just leaning on tropes.
Omar laughed that Americans speak of Al-Qaeda. You remember that tape? Speak of Al-Qaeda. But when we say something about the United States, you just don't say America with any intensity. Remember that? Representative Omar has a history of launching virulent anti-Semitic screeds, whether you like it or not. She said the U.S. support for Israel is all about the Benjamins. She said that pro-Israel.
You know what's funny? If you were to run this clip again, every single person in that crowd, or not every single person, but like most people in that crowd would be in agreement with Ilhan Omar. They would go, oh my God, that's crazy. Look at how based Ilhan Omar was. Why the fuck did we hate her? Okay. And for the record, the notion that like it's all about the Benjamins is anti-Semitic was another completely insane media cycle. God damn, we've gone through so much. It is crazy. People in the United States of America love punishing those who are bold and are on the right side for just simply being on the right side, for simply demonstrating the moral courage to say the most basic shit.
Israel lawmakers have an allegiance to a foreign country. Omar wrote that Israel has hypnotized the world. May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
Yeah, this is from this is a classic faucet that you see, a classic like unlimited faucet, where when someone is obviously Muslim, it works a lot better. They tried to do that with Bernie Sanders too, but Bernie Sanders is Jewish, so it didn't work. But when you are a visibly Muslim person, you're hijabi, you're black, you're a Somali refugee as well. Like obviously, it is significantly more impactful. You and Noah talked about this moment. Consistent?
No, I mean it's just like to address the first part of this, because this is like now a multi-stage controversy. To address the first part of it, like what she said was not anti-Semitic. It is a stretch to call it anti-Semitic. It's a real stretch.
Yeah. February 13th, 2019. Liberals are caving to the right once again. I still got the same day one homies. We're still saying the same exact shit, which is why it's so funny. It's so funny when people try to act as though I have changed. Okay? What the hell are we talking about? I've changed. Motherfucker, you've changed. You just didn't listen to the things that I was saying back then. It's so ridiculous. It is so ridiculous that these motherfuckers will try to be like, oh, Hassan, you've changed your mind. It's like, bro, there is not someone that is more consistent out there. How is calligraphy Jews, Benjamins, not anti-Semitic? What does that even mean? Calligraphy Jews? No, when she says it's all about the Benjamins, she's talking about money. She's talking about the pervasive influence of money and lobbying on American Congress, which is ironic because we're about to talk about that right here.
I think that the canard of like a Jewish conspiracy and Jewish financiers controlling the world, controlling and ruling the world, like Protocols of the Elders of Zion stuff, like that's totally that like as a canard and as a trope, it exists. It's like it's a noxious myth and it is a long and like sordid lineage or whatever. But what Ilhan Omar did was actually use the word AIPAC to describe like the term AIPAC, which is not a Jewish organization. It's not a Jewish organization. She didn't say Jews. She didn't say any of the things that would have identified this as, like an anti-Semitic remark. She talks about AIPAC and she says that they spend money to, in the case that she was referring to, that AIPAC and organizations like it spend money to support Republicans in Congress, and that the incentive and the reasons for Kevin McCarthy to say that Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar are, anti-Semitic is because that's what the donors and the people who are part of the Israel lobby want. Because
I'm gonna be honest, I'm so proud of my friends. I'm so proud of this community. I mean, we've been at this fucking battle for so goddamn long. This is also part of the reason why we're like when people are like chirping at me because they feel as though like my support for Palestine and Palestinians is like conditional or something. It's like, yeah, whatever, dude. I'll let that wash away. It's all good. You know what I mean? There's never like I have never ever fucking stood down from this position ever in my freaking life. Okay, there was a chatter in here who said, by the way, look at the top dono is BDS. Clips like this only remind me how confused I was after October 7th when a bunch of chatters acted like you changed your positions. I couldn't figure out if we'd been watching the same streams. Yeah, no, it's just people weren't paying attention to it. Like I think people just basically drop certain issues. Like there are a lot of people who were who had been oblivious to the way Israel behaves. And I guess they like completely fucking tuned out when I was talking about this issue for years and years and years, right? The reason why I've been consistent and the reason why my positions haven't changed on this stuff is because the issues have not changed either, okay? The issues haven't changed. That's the reason why like my commentary is identical from like 2019 all the way to now. In what way did you change views? They were probably just liberals following you. I guess like the only difference is like with the expanded permission structure, like there are certain things that previously with the expanded permission structure, obviously there are certain things that I can like openly state. And in some instances, like I'm the one who's pushing the needle and getting punished for it, but it's fine. Like saying that the Houthis and the Ansar Allah movement is unironically one of the only regional actors that's holding the international rule-based order alive by holding Israel to account for its crime of genocide. Like these are the types of things that people will immediately hear and go, oh, you're a terrorist. You love terrorism. Fuck you. But like there are certain red lines that I don't, allow people to cross. This is one of them, right? This is one of them. It's ridiculous. And I think like people inevitably do come to that conclusion. It just takes it takes a long time for people to basically recognize this. But this is something that many of you also have to come to terms with. If you are someone who is an anti-imperialist, a socialist, there are a lot of people that you're going to meet every single day that are going to have a very negative opinion because of Red Scare propaganda, okay? There are going to be a lot of people that you meet on a day-to-day basis that think you're hostile, that think you're evil, that think you're a bad person, that think your worldview is actually bad for them and that you're like a dangerous entity or whatever. You just have to let that wash over you, knowing full well that you are on the right side of history, that history will vindicate you, that as long as you can change people's minds one step at a time, one day at a time, then ultimately, because your cause is just, you'll be fine. How do we arrive at this? Because we were talking about Ilhan Omar, because here's an older video of David Pakman saying AIPAC correctly in the process of also shitting on Ilhan Omar.
Or against boycotting Israel or Israeli companies or whatever, and still recognize that it's a really bad idea to even go near approximating these anti-Semitic tropes. It's bad for Democrats. It's bad for the progressive movement. It's bad for those who want reform in Israel. That's okay. You don't have to feel as though merely admitting that this was a mistake, that it was either ignorant or malicious, and both are problematic, and that doesn't change the validity of your perspective on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict or what policy should be towards Israel. And I was concerned before the election that exactly this type of nonsense would start flying after the midterms.
Yeah, it's just like this is in the process of like criticizing Ilhan Omar
from AIPAC. AIPAC support AIPAC.
Yeah, so he knows how to say AIPAC, man. That's crazy. Did Taylor actually accuse him of AIPAC funding? No one did. I think like people just went along with it because people just use AIPAC as like a catch-all for every type of like Israel lobby activity. It's wrong if you're going to be like super specific. But no, Taylor Lorenz never said that. The only thing that a lot of people noticed in the aftermath of reading this article was that a lot of these content creators, especially big ones, right, and even smaller ones, were all content creators that had like either aligned with the administration, previous administration, or had been noticeably absent from the conversation when it comes to a major issue such as Israel's genocide of the Palestinians. And that is the reason why people were like, are these guys getting paid to be silent on Israel? And I tried to explain at that point where it's like, well, there is editorial control over this process, at least contractual obligations that require some semblance of editorial control, which I think is like not great. These guys mostly are self-selected. But the reason why people say David a Pakman or he's being funded by AIPAC or whatever is not because people legitimately think that AIPAC, a far-right pro-Israel lobbying group, is like directly funding him and his operations. The reason why they say that is because he's either A, noticeably absent from the conversation on Israel, or B, when he talks about Israel, it's usually in a way where it's fairly, I mean, it's just like a liberal Zionist position. That's it. That's the reason. Yeah, we no longer take AIPAC money, says U.S. Rep. Morgan McGarvey at a town hall in Louisville, Saturday. The group previously backed McGarvey in 2022 and 2024 elections. This shows progress of source, but if AIPAC is just replaced by DMFI or the dozen other pro-Israel groups vaguely aligned with the Democrats, then this risks becoming a box to be checked without substantive change in incentives or more meaningfully political outcomes. Exactly. I do think that it's like kind of silly to make it seem like you don't have, any knowledge of this pivotal. You don't have any knowledge of this incredibly important lobbying group in American politics, especially right now, more than ever before. More important than ever before, I would say, when it's top of mind. So, yeah, I saw the Matt Lee brief. That was pretty funny, where he said, squinting as my wife shows me the credit card statement, $15 a month for only funds? Fangs? What even is this? That's a good meme. That's a good joke. I mean, it just gets right to the fucking heart. So I don't get why so many liberal pundits don't seem to understand the majority views of their own candidates. I think the reason why a lot of people just like choose to be silent on this conversation is because they are they're in a bubble. They're afraid of cutting through. They're afraid of exhibiting any sort of bravery, any sort of moral consistency. They're just like, by the way that this like job works, when you're in Congress for an extended period of time, you are entirely sheltered from the public opinion. And the only time someone is reflecting on what the public opinion is when you're fucking on a phone call with like a pro-Israel lobbyist guy who's telling you the public opinion is pro-Israel. Okay? That's it. Some people are cynical. They recognize what the truth is and they choose not to hammer on. Some people are oblivious because they're bubbled in. It doesn't matter. The outcome is still the same. But we're talking about politicians. If you're talking about like someone like David Pakman, I think he knows. He knows what's going on. That's the reason why he's silent on the issue, right? Because if he felt like there was a lever here that he could pull, if he felt like there was an angle here that he could take that still maintained like some semblance of a pro-Israel position as a progressive pundit, then he would do it. It's just he's choosing to keep quiet because he doesn't want to say something that would reflect poorly on him and his commentary, especially right now, because people will go, what the fuck? You are saying you're pro-Israel. This is crazy. At a time like this, when Israel's doing a genocide, why aren't you saying Israel's doing a genocide? Like that would be the argument from his own audience, and he doesn't want to deal with that, I think, which is why he just like chooses to stay silent on the issue. It's not that he's oblivious to what's going on. And I say this like the reality of the matter is like if he had an opinion that he wasn't worried about, if he had an opinion that he wasn't so worried about, like he would say it. He would say it out loud. He'd be like, Israel's doing a genocide. It's unimaginable. It's really fucked up. And also we have to put a stop to it, you know? We have to put a stop to it. We have to put an end to it. It's just plausible deniability.